Okay, so if you pull up a map of Hong Kong, look over the new territories, you'll find On Shan, or MOS. And yeah, today it looks like a modern planned town. Lots of housing, very orderly. But we've been digging into the source material for this deep dive, and wow, underneath that surface, there's this incredibly chaotic, rich, really unique history.
It really is. It's almost a textbook case, isn't it? Rapid development sort of paving over a really complex past. On Shan, it's so much more than just apartment blocks. Our sources actually call it a triple spatial temporal intersection.
Okay, a triple. What now? Spatial temporal intersection. Sounds pretty academic.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean on the ground?
Yeah, it does sound a bit formal. But basically, it means three crucial layers of Hong Kong's story, all overlapping right there. First, you've got the sheer industrial rarity. On Shan had Hong Kong's only viable iron mine, running for 50 years. That's completely different from the usual trading port story, right?
Right. Heavy industry. Not what you usually think of. Okay, that's one layer.
Second is the human story. The mining village itself. It was this incredibly vibrant but also temporary melting pot. Workers came from all over different provinces, creating this unique mix. But critically, religious groups provided massive support, like humanitarian aid, schooling. They really held the community together.
Okay, so industry and then this intense community aspect, heavily supported by faith groups, that's two. Given how fast Hong Kong changed, was the mine closing just a blip? Or did it really connect to that bigger economic picture?
And that's the third layer, perfectly. The timing. The mine shut down for good in 1976. And that date, it lines up exactly with the start of Hong Kong's huge economic boom.
Okay. So the skilled miners, these technicians.
Exactly. They were suddenly in high demand for big city projects, much better pay, building the MTR, things like that. So the mine didn't just fade away, its workforce got actively pulled into the city's modernization. The mine's collapse is kind of a footnote marking the start of that boom.
So it wasn't decay, it was being overtaken by something bigger.
Right. Okay, so our mission today for you listening is to journey through those layers. We've got 5 key stories tied to the landscape, and we'll point out the specific hidden gems, actual places you can still find that let you step back into that past, from like industrial grit to the deep roots of Hakka village life. Let's start with the iron, story 1, the heartbeat of industry. The On Shan iron mine, run by Tai Cheng foreign firm. 50 years it ran, until 76. And like you said, the closure wasn't this slow decline, it was pretty abrupt.
Very swift, yeah. There were a couple of things happening. The mining contract was ending, and the government was already planning the new town, so getting a renewal was unlikely anyway.
Yeah.
But the real killer blow, the job market.
The pull of the city. Those skilled technicians were needed elsewhere.
Desperately needed.
Yeah.
Our sources really highlight this. They were lured away. Higher wages for a massive project like the new MTR. That brain drain, or maybe skill drain, just dissolved the community almost overnight.
Well, you see it reflected in the institutions, like the Lutheran school and kindergarten. They depended on the miners' families. They shut down the very same year the mine did. The community lifeline was just cut by the city's prosperity.
But they left behind some incredible structures. The first hidden gem for you to check out, the ore preparation plant. That and the 240 ml pit. These are the big physical markers of that whole mining era, right?
Oh, absolutely monumental. It's the sheer scale that gets you. This plant, built in '54, massive concrete, massive steel. Standing there, you really feel the scale and power of that industrial age. It's like this silent skeleton, isn't it? The old heartbeat of Hong Kong's industry.
Okay, so from that huge structure, Story 2 takes us somewhere else. More dramatic scenery. The abandoned open-cast mine area stopped being used back in '57. And the miners had this amazing name for it. Tian Y Tian, heaven beyond heaven.
Yeah, you can almost feel the isolation and maybe awe in that name, can't you? It's visually stunning. Another hidden gem, especially for hikers, it's like this deep chasm, sheer cliffs. You see the human scars of digging mixed right in with natural erosion. Really dramatic.
And that drama,
Yeah.
actually made it kind of famous, didn't it?
Yeah.
I read it was used in old Hong Kong films and TV shows.
That's right. It offered this unique, epic backdrop you couldn't easily find elsewhere. But this brings up a really crucial point for anyone thinking of visiting. Safety.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
The source material is crystal clear on this. Looking at Tino Tian from the outside, great, spectacular views, but the old mine tunnels themselves, absolutely off limits. They are seriously dangerous.
How so?
Years of neglect, structures have collapsed, rock falls are a constant risk, the ventilation, the lighting, all gone. It's just not safe to enter.
Okay, so the film history adds a bit of color, but the message is clear. Admire the untouchable grandeur from safe viewing spots only. Don't go exploring the tunnels. That danger itself is part of the history too, I guess. A reminder of what those miners faced.
Definitely. And thinking about those dangers, the hard work, it makes you consider the human cost. Which brings us neatly to the social history. Life in that mining village was incredibly tough.
Yeah, I thought some figures. Wages were shockingly low, especially early on for unmarried workers. Like sometimes just $1 a day.
Yeah, imagine, $1 a day, and basically no medical care available out there in the hills.
So how did people even cope? That leads us to story 3, right? Lap of compassion. The religious group stepping in.
Exactly. This support was fundamental. Without it, it's hard to see how the community would have held together. You had two key players. The Catholic Franciscan Order. They set up St. Joseph's Chapel and a primary school in 1952. And almost at the same time, the Lutherans founded their employees' children's school in 51, and then a kindergarten later in 1960.
So they weren't just offering prayers. They were providing real, tangible things like education, stability.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
When the state offered basically nothing out there, they filled that gap. And it wasn't just about institutions, it was individual dedication too. There's this amazing story about a teacher, Kyu Yuzu.
Oh, yeah? Tell us about her.
Well, she came from a pretty well-off family in the city, just graduated, and she chose to travel like 3 hours each way to this remote, dusty village to teach music.
Wow. Music in a mining village.
Yeah. And get this, the school had no music room and no piano, but she went anyway. That kind of commitment, that sacrifice, it just shows this incredible spirit that went beyond the tough conditions.
That's really something. So the buildings they left behind are the next hidden gem, the religious architecture complex.
That's right. St. Joseph's Church Complex, the Lutheran village with Engguang Church, they stand as physical symbols of that spiritual shelter.
But there's a problem now, isn't there? A conservation issue.
A major one. It's quite stark, actually. While the faith obviously continues, the buildings themselves, especially St. Joseph's Church and School, which are officially graded historical buildings, they're in really bad shape.
How bad?
Collapsing walls, debris everywhere, just severe dilapidation. There's this awful irony, the sources point out. These places were built with so much faith and hard work during incredibly tough times. And now, in peacetime, they're literally crumbling away from neglect and, the weather, facing total disappearance.
We risk losing the physical proof of that whole compassionate history. That's worrying.
It really is. And that theme of decay, of things disappearing, leads us nicely to the next part. We need to shift gears now, away from the temporary mining village, which rose and fell so quickly, and look towards the enduring Hakka communities, the ones that were there long before the mine along the coast.
Right, a totally different pace of life. Stability versus boom and bust. Story 4 takes us to Wu Kai Sha village, a traditional Hakka place. What was their life like?
Very different. Based on farming rice, sweet potatoes, sugarcane. Self-sufficient. They'd often trade their crops with local fishermen for seafood. It's this picture of long-term sustainability, completely unlike the short-term, transient labor of the mine.
And the hidden gem here embodies that endurance.
Perfectly. It's the incredible ancient banyan tree right next to the village's feng shui forest. It's huge, officially listed as an old and valuable tree. It has something like 18 aerial roots, a canopy spreading 27 meters wide. Just massive.
Impressive size. But there's a deeper meaning here, isn't there? Something philosophical.
Yes, these sources connect it to an old text about the banyan tree are wrong. The idea is that the banyan provides shelter because its wood is considered useless for timber or construction, so it's spared the axe.
Ah, I see the contrast. The iron ore was useful, so it got dug up until the whole operation collapsed.
Exactly. But the useless tree, it wasn't exploited, so it was allowed to just grow and grow for centuries, providing continuous shelter for the Hakka people. It's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? About what we value. Short-term use versus long-term presence or capacity.
Capacity tolerance. Wrong. Here, that's a really neat connection. Okay, let's move to story 5. Tai Shui Hang Village. More Hakka history, but with some unique twists.
Definitely. This village has some fascinating local lore. The best one is probably the incense burner mystery.
Incense burner mystery sounds intriguing.
It involves the ancestors of three main families there, the Zhang, Luo, and Feng families. Legend says they were traveling together by sea, got caught in a massive storm or hurricane, and in all the chaos, their sacred family incense burners got completely mixed up.
Oh, wow. That would be a big deal, wouldn't it? Messing up ancestral items like that.
A huge deal. So, to sort of honor that chaotic event and prevent future confusion about lineage, they made a pact, a traditional covenant. The three families do not intermarry.
And that still holds today.
Apparently so. It's woven into the village's identity. Shows how deep these traditions run.
Amazing. And the architecture there is special, too. That's the final hidden gem. The Sino-Western village houses.
Yeah, the village itself is like a living museum. These houses show this fascinating blend of styles. Take Nomis 1618, built maybe the 1910s, 1920s. What's cool about them is they use local granite for the door and window frames.
Granite. Isn't that unusual for houses?
Very unusual for domestic buildings back then. Usually for temples or fortifications, maybe. So these are really rare, beautiful examples of local craft using local stone.
And there's another example.
Yes, number 6. Built in 1939, it's apparently the only really well-preserved pre-war house like it there. And it has this distinct Western-style balcony with these little vase-shaped railings. It shows they weren't totally isolated. They were selectively bringing in outside architectural ideas while keeping their basic Hakka style.
So they adapted, but on their own terms.
Pretty much, absorbing influences, not being overwhelmed by them. So if we try and pull all these threads together, the short-lived mine, the faith-based community support, the long-standing Hakka villages, what On Shan really shows us is this intense story of labor, belief, and that difficult shift Hong Kong made, from farming to industry and then leaping into this global commercial center.
And the past isn't entirely gone. You mentioned the miners' cemeteries.
Yeah, the golden urns, they're still there on the mountainside. A quiet reminder, really, that today's city, today's prosperity, it's built on the work and the sacrifices of people who came before.
So what's the big takeaway for us today, for you listening? That philosophical point about the banyan tree seems key. The contrast between the useful iron and the useless tree.
I think that's central. The real value of heritage might not be in its immediate practical usefulness, like ore you can sell. Maybe the deeper value lies in its capacity, its wrong, its ability to hold things. Memories, stories of suffering, community spirit over the long haul.
Which means how we think about preservation needs to shift a bit.
Perhaps it's not just about saving the big, impressive industrial bits, the steel and concrete, though that's important too. It's also about making sure that On Shan's spirit, that resilience, that humility, the community bonds, is remembered. And that means we really need to look at the state of places like St. Joseph's Church. These human-scale sites are decaying fast. We need to act before that part of the story just vanishes into the modernization push.
Right. Prevent that vital social history from being lost. So maybe a final thought to leave you with is you picture On Shan shifting from its past to its present. Think about your own life, your own community. What piece of seemingly useless heritage, maybe an old story, a tradition, a place that doesn't make money but holds memories, but useless thing is actually the most valuable thing you have, something to ponder.